Good evening, everyone. Just take a minute to make sure everyone join on the lesson. I'm going to start very shortly. All right. Good evening, everyone. And hopefully everyone joined on the lesson. So, of course, like we already completed our book, today we're going to start with the revision. As I said last week, we're going to practice the whole exam question. So today we're going to pick up exam question and we'll try to practice every single task we have. So in the exam, we'll expect 10 tasks. There will be total 10 question, and every single question will have some breakdown. For example, task number one will have A, B, C. So there will be few requirements under the one task. So we're going to see today how many questions will be in the exam, what type of question we're going to see in the exam, and how could we answer all of this. And another thing is like from which chapter, how many marks we're going to expect. For example, chapter number one, how many marks normally come? Chapter number two, how many marks will come? For example, bank reconciliation, how many marks will be there? From the trial balance and error, how many marks will be there? So we will see every single area today, and we'll try to solve some exam type question. So today we have picked up a question that is AAT Practice Assessment 1. And obviously, like this is one of the sample question given by the AAT. This is one of the sample question given by the AAT. So that means if you practice this question, I would say we will have a very clear picture what type of question we'll expect in the exam. So let's have a look. The first task number one, we can see that's for 12 marks question. 12 marks, and normally this question comes from the payment method. Normally this question comes from the payment method section. That is our chapter number one. So what we're expecting from chapter number one, we expect 10 to 12 marks, and this is very easy and very quick to get to all of these marks we have from this chapter. So for example, if we have a 10, 12, or 15, how many marks come in the exam? Doesn't matter. That will be really quick way to grab all the marks from this chapter. Let's have a look. So from this chapter, as you already know, all the payment method we have, you already know that. For example, only few payment method we need to remember. If you remember your chaps, that will be for the bigger payment, the direct debit, same person, the amount will be vary. Standing order, same person, same amount for a fixed time. And of course, the banks for the wages and salaries. So this type of thing we already know. The bank draft is a guaranteed payment. So this type of payment method we already discussed before, but today we're going to practice some exam type of question. Let's read this question. Everyone try to participate, because if you participate, that means we are completing this question together. If we participate, that means we are completing this question together. So let's have a look. Question number one. So match each situation with the most appropriate payment method below. Payment method may be used more than once. Okay, So what you need to do in the exam, this is the instruction. They're saying you have to click here and click here. So when you try to connect, you need to click first one box, then you click here, then it will be automatically connected. So don't try to drag. Some of the students I have seen, they try to drag the mark, they try to make the line, but it's not going to work. All you need to do, you need to make a click here, make a next click, it will be connected. If you want to remove it, you just click on the red line, that will be gone. So that's how you can answer all of this question. All right, so let's try to solve task number 1 for the payment method. Let's have a look how difficult it is. Okay, the first situation and the payment method, we have two things. Let's talk about the first one. Making a payment via internet to purchase office stationery. So when you buy something from internet, so what is the best way we can make the payment? So here we can see we have a standing order, we have a check, we have a bank draft, we have a debit card, we have a chaps and cash. So we have to choose which one is the most suitable way. Now obviously standing order, check, this cannot be the suitable way. The bank draft, we don't do it through online. The debit card is the best option. When you buy something from online, we can pay from our debit card. Now in the exam, for example, if you don't have the debit card, they might give you the credit card. So in this case, you can take the credit card as well, because from the credit card, you can still make a payment. So when you buy something from online, you can still use your credit card. So we would say that will be for this question, that will be our debit card. The next one we have here, making a non-automated low-value payment in person. Making a non-automated. Non-automated means I'm not using the computer. I'm not logging to my bank account. So I'm doing something manually. It's not automatic. And payment I'm giving to a person. Payment I'm giving to a person. So what type of payment I can give to a person? So we can see that's the only thing, cash. That's the only thing you can give in person that is non-automated. You don't have to go to the bank, or you don't have to log into your bank. And the amount is really low. We can use the cash method. The next one is saying making a payment by post to a credit supplier. Making a payment by post to a credit supplier. What is the best way to make a payment through post? Now, of course, we don't post cash. Of course, we don't post our debit cards. We don't post the bank draft. Only the one thing we can post, that is check. This is the most suitable way. When you need to make a post to the supplier, you can use the check. The next one we have making a regular payment of regular amount to the same recipient. So I'm paying the same person, same amount. Same person, same amount. And the payment is regular, maybe every week or every month. So I'm paying to the same person, same amount regularly. So that will be our standing orders. Well done, Jude. Well done on an amount. Yes, this is a standing order. The difference between the standing order and the direct debit is direct debit amount could go up and down. Direct debit amount could vary, but the standing order amount always fixed. Other condition, for example, paying to the same person or paying to the same bank detail on the same date could be same for the direct debit, but for the direct debit, amount will go up and down. For example, when we pay our gas and electricity bills, and that time we can pay by direct debit because every month amount could go up and down. All right, so this is question number 1, and you can see here it's not very difficult, it's very easy question. So there will be a question from this chapter from the payment method. So if you know it, it's not going to be very difficult to get full marks from question number 1. So this was section A. Let's move to section number B and let's have a look what we have there. On section B, they said, show which two of the payment methods below will not reduce the fund in the payer bank balance on the day of the payment. Choose from the drop-down list. They said from here, from the pick list, which two payment method the money don't go from the bank balance immediately. So if I make a payment now, the money will be still there. The money will not go from the bank immediately. So which two method we have? Yes, Evelyn, that's true. This is our check and the credit card. Check and the credit card, Tamil, not the chaps. Check and the credit card. Very well done. Checks and the credit card. So if we make a payment by check or credit card, even though we make a payment today, the money don't go from our bank immediately. So it takes some time to clear the balance, and it at least takes 3 days to clear the balance. So if you make a payment in the morning, and when you come home, you'll see still the money is there. So that means the fund didn't clear immediately from our bank. All right, so that's easy one. That's not difficult. Let's move to the next section. On the next section, we have effect on the trial balance. Let's have a look at this question. That question will be really tricky. If you don't have enough knowledge from that chapter, you should read again because this question will be definitely on the exam and you have to answer this question. Let's take this question. It is important to understand the effect of error in bookkeeping system. Show whether the error below will cause an imbalance in the trial balance by writing in the appropriate answer against the error. You may use each answer more than once. So you can use one answer more than once. So you need to find, are it going to make the trial balance balance or imbalance? If it is balanced, that means the reason, because of that reason, my trial balance will be still match. And is there any reason because of that the trial balance will go up and down? It will not match. So there is two answers here. It will cause an imbalance. That means it will not match, and will not cause imbalance. That means it will match. The first one, not match, and will match. Okay, let's read the first error. The first error we have, a cash sale has been recorded in the sale and the VAT control only. So when I make a cash sale, what I say? I said cash, debit, VAT, credit, and sale, credit. So when I make a cash sale, this is our journal. But if we forget one, when I make a cash sale, I said only sales and VAT is recorded. So I recorded this and this. I forget the cash. So what will happen for that? When I'm making my trial balance, VAT will come this side, sale will come this side on the credit side, and the debit side will be shortage. And because of that, my trial balance will not be matched, isn't it? So if you read a question, if you need to do a workings on the exam, you will have your scrap paper, you will have your pen with you. You can make a T account and try to see what will happen if you are confused about the answer. So you'll see if you do the workings on your T account, you will see it will match or not very easily. So for that reason, I would say that will cause an imbalance. That means it will not match. So will cause imbalance. Okay. The next one. The next one is saying the purchase of a new computer has been recorded in the office expense account. All other entries are correct. I'm buying a computer, but incorrectly I said this is the office expense. Do you think that will create my trial balance imbalance, or it will be matched? It will not create an imbalance. So you have to think very carefully. On the trial balance, we only consider is it debit or credit, isn't it? On the trial balance, we only consider is it debit or credit. Now, if I write my computer mistakenly office expense, what will happen? My computer is a debit that will come here on the debit side, computer, and instead of writing the computer, if mistakenly if I write expense, that is also debit. So it doesn't matter what I'm writing, that will come debit side anyway. So if this both come to the debit side, my trial balance will be still match because the credit entry is right anyway, and I'm just changing the accounting name. But the trial balance only consider is it debit or credit, or is the figure is equal or not. So if the amount is right, and it come to the debit side, my trial balance will be matched anyway. Can anyone tell me what type of error it is? Anyone remember that error? When the computer I buy by I said is the office expense. This is the error of principle. Very well done, Jude. Error of principle. So when I consider the capital expenditure as a revenue expenditure, when I change the account type, we called it error of principle. Very well done. Which is very close to the error of commission, SEPI. For example, error of commission is when you said office expense for the rent expense. For example, you have the office expense, mistakenly you said as insurance. You said it is a advertising. Both are revenue expenditure. So that time it is error of commission. But if you change the category, something is a revenue expenditure, but you said is a capital expenditure. That is called error of principle. Okay, the next one. The next one is saying will not cause. Okay. Number 3, the third one is saying a bank's payment to a credit supplier was debited to the bank account and credited to the purchase ledger account. What do you think? We did opposite. It's supposed to be purchase ledger control debit and bank credit, but we did opposite. So the bank supposed to become here and the purchase ledger control here, but we did opposite. We took the purchase ledger control there and bank bring here. So that will not cause an imbalance, isn't it? Because this one will go other side and that one go other side, but the trial balance will be still match. Do you remember what type of error it is? So will not cause imbalance. This is error of reversal. Very well done, Manu. This is error of reversal. So reversal means something supposed to be debit, I make it credit. Something supposed to be credit, I make it debit. Okay. Number 4. The last one. They're asking a cash payment. A cash payment of 56 for stationery has been recorded in the cash account as 65. All other entries were correct. I paid 56, but I wrote cash, I paid 65. The other side I wrote correctly. So what will happen? So if my debit and credit figure is not same, my trial balance will not be balanced because On the trial balance, the debit side and the credit side has to be equal. Here, I'm writing for the cash payment is 56 rather than I'm writing 65, but other entries I'm writing current. So if both sides are mistakes, so for example, if both sides, if I write 65 and 65 debit and credit instead of 56, then it makes sense. Like, okay, it will be match. But if one debit side I write 56 or credit side I write 65, it will be never match because debit and credit always has to be equal. So that will cause an imbalance. Will cause an imbalance. All right. Any question from here? Anyone? Any confusion? We can discuss more if you are confused about anything. Okay, let's move on to the next one then. The next one we have here, they said, show which one of the errors below is an error of principle. So from below, which one is the error of principle? Let's have a look at that. Error of principle. The first one, we said cash sale has been recorded in the sales and VAT control only. No. The purchase of a new computer has been recorded in the office expense account, isn't it? Buy a computer and we said is office expense. If we do this type of mistake where we buy the computer and we said this is the office expense, so I'm changing the category because computer is my asset. An asset is a capital expenditure. On the other hand, office expense is my expense. An expense is a revenue expenditure. So revenue expenditure always goes to profit and loss account, and capital expenditure always go to balance sheet. So I'm changing the category. So in that case, this is our error of principle. Asset is not an expense because when you buy the asset come and another asset go. For example, if you buy a motor car by cash, so cash is an asset and motor car also asset. So motor car is coming and cash is going. When you buy some asset, the asset will go up, so you'll have more asset. But when you spend for something as expense, no asset is coming. This is actually the expense for your business. That goes to the profit and loss account. All right, so let's move on. Next one, you can see one question have a lot of breakdown. We are doing number E now. So one task have A, B, C, D, and E. And total five tasks, like 5 breakdown of the task give you total 12 marks. Okay, let's read this question. Number E. Here is saying which other transaction from the drop-down list below would be recorded in journal. Remember that if they said journal, they're asking about something to do manually. What you do manually, this is the only thing. Irrecoverable debt write-off, we have to do it later on. I will tell you why irrecoverable debt write-off, because this is the only thing you do after the period end, sometimes after the accounting year end or sometimes after a certain period. Why? Because the person, how the irrecoverable debt created. When you make a credit sale, we create sales ledger control. When you make a credit sale, we create sales ledger control, and they are my asset. They are my asset because they're going to pay some money to me. We make a credit sale, they will pay some money. Now, after a few months, let's say after 6 months, this person is still not paying to me. But when I make a sale, credit sale, I already said that's my income. And my income goes up because it doesn't matter it is a cash sale or credit sale. As long as I make a sales, my sales figure goes up. So what happened after 6 months when this person not paying to me, I called him, you are my bad debt. You are my bad debt. And this bad debt would be recoverable or irrecoverable. Now this bad debt, if I try all the way, I calling him, I sending the letter, after that I'm 100% sure, I'm not gonna get this money from this customer. So we called it irrecoverable debt. Irrecoverable debt. And we have to write it off. When I need to write it off, how I will do that? So I do the journal. Through journal, I do the opposite entry. For example, when I make a sale, credit sale, I said sales ledger control debit and sales is credit if there is no VAT. Now, when the person don't pay me, I'm sure he's not going to pay me. I have to reduce my income and my asset. So that time I said irrecoverable debt debit and sales ledger control credit. So we do the opposite entry and we make these two down. So that's why when the question comes from the drop down list, which one you use for normally to record in a journal, this is the one we use to record in a journal because this is something uncertain. It could happen, it cannot happen. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to our task number 2. Task number 2 is all about the payroll journal, and this question will be definitely in the exam. So that could that would be 12 marks or could be 15 marks. That will start from 12 to 15 marks. Now here, if you remember the formula, your life will be very, very easy. All you need to remember the formula I have given to you. If you remember that, the journals and which amount come, you can do it easily. If you don't remember that, then it will be very difficult for you to calculate the fee. And I would say this is a very easy way to get the full marks from this task because this one will be the solid number and you will get the solid marks for this question. So let's try this question. Okay, so would there be any others that would you mean Sharon? Like do you have to practice any more question? You mean you have to practice because of the practice question I have sent it to you. You need to do some more practice. The one I'm practicing, there is 5 question on the back of the question bank. You have to practice 4 more. I'm doing 1, but if you understand 1, the rest will be easy for you because more or less the story is same. All right, let's read this question. Payroll transactions are recorded using wages control account. We already know that wages control account is everywhere. If something is debit, wages control will be credit. If something is a credit, wages control will be debit. This is a note from your line manager. Okay. The wages expense. The wages expense for June 70,560. Other payroll information for the month is shown below. Income tax and national insurance amount as follows. And we have a voluntary reduction for the trade union that is 42 employee and pay 15 each. You need to multiply that. How much is the trade union? That is 45 times 50. Okay, let's have a look at the first one. The first journal here they're asking, record the net wages paid. Net wages paid. Do we remember what is the journal for net wages paid? Net wages paid. So the net wages paid, the journal will be here, wages control, debit, and money will go from the bank credit. Wages control debit and bank is credit. So we are doing the net wages paid is not wages expense, Sharon. Wages expense for when they're asking record the wages expense. This one they're asking net wages paid. Very, very careful. Now our journal is done. The next thing is how much will be the amount. So we're going to write here wages control debit bank credit. So let's have a look at the amount. How much will be the amount? We remember how to do the amount for that net wages. So we do gross wages. So that is 70,000. Gross wages 70,560 minus income tax, that is 7125, minus employees NI, not the employer, employees NI. Employees NI, that is 4657. And finally, the trade union minus trade union. So all the deduction we minus from the gross pay, and obviously that will give us, this is not the gross pay even, it is the total expense, isn't it? So we need to minus almost everything. So how much is our trade union? Trade union, we have 32 employee times, that is 15. So that is 630. So 70,560, 7125, 657 minus 630. So also there is 15222. So the figure will be here 52926. This one, let me explain. It's a very, very tricky thing. So when they said, if the question tell you this one is the gross pay, 70,560. Remember, if the question said this is the gross pay, not the wages expense, then we do not minus the employer's NI. If the question says it's a gross pay, then we do not minus the employer's NI because employer's NI is the outside of the gross pay. Gross pay means only for the employee. How much employee is earning, we called it gross pay before any deduction. But if the question is saying wages expense means total wages expense for the company. Wages expense means total wages expense for the company. That means everything is inside. So inside of the 70,560, we have everything. We have a tax, we have a trade union, we have an employer NI, and we have an employee NI. So if we have anything else, the pension, that will be still inside of this wages expense. Because wages expense means all the total expense for the business. So you have to minus everything from here. You have to minus this, and everything to get how much actually paid to the employee. That is the net wages paid. So from this one, 70,560 minus the tax, minus the employees NI, minus the employers NI, and the trade union. And that will give us 52,926. 52,926. If you have any question, you can ask me. If you have any confusion, I can discuss again because this question will be in the exam. Make sure you understand it. You need to understand the difference between the wages expense and the gross wages. Wages expense is everything, total expense for the business. On the other hand, gross wages is expense that basically earned by the employee before any deduction. Very, very careful. If you do same question a few times practice, you'll understand it very well. Okay, let's move on. If you're happy with that, let's move on to the next one. Let's have a look what is the next requirement. Next one here, they said record the Hmrc liability. Hmrc liability. Do you remember what is the journal for Hmrc liability? Number 2, Hmrc liability. The Hmrc, the journal is wages control debit, wages control debit, and Hmrc credit. Hmrc is a liability. You have to pay the tax to Hmrc. So Hmrc is always credit anyway. And if we know Hmrc is a credit, then we know what will be the debit. Debit will be wages control. And how much will be the amount? As it's been said, NI and the tax, isn't it? 2 national insurance, 1 tax. Remember, pension and the trade union. Pension and the trade union never go to Hmrc. Only 2 tax, 1 national insurance number. 2 tax, 1 national insurance number. This 3 goes to Hmrc. So I'll say this 3. If you can add, if you tell me that, 17,004. Thank you, Banu. 17,004. Okay, thank you, Sharon. So let's move on to the next one. The final one we have here, that is trade union. And I think that is 630 unit. We already calculated that. And do you remember the journal for trade union? Trade union is also a liability like Hmrc. So trade union is a credit and wages control is debit. The amount will be 630, that is 24 and 15. So trade union, the pension, and the Hmrc, all these 3 are credit. Pension is a credit, Hmrc is a credit, and the trade union also credit. So if these 3 are credit, even if we don't know what is debit, we know what is debit. Wages control is debit. All right, so any question before we move to the next question? Let's have a look. If you have any question, we can discuss more. No, so let's move on then. Let's move on to the next question we have, task number 3. So on task number 3, we'll have a look at the question. All right, so on task 3, you can see we have a journal for the question, and this question I have seen in the exam so many times. Please make sure your microphone is mute so that it doesn't make any noise for everyone. Okay, so task 3, 10 marks question. We have, this is a customer account in the sales ledger. You understand the difference between the sales ledger and the sales ledger control, isn't it? Sales ledger, when you talk about one customer, sales ledger control, when you talk about all the customer together. Sales ledger, only one customer. Same like purchase ledger. Purchase ledger is only one supplier, and purchase ledger control is all the supplier together. Here, the question said sales ledger. That means we are talking about only one customer, that is Joe. Joe Daniel, one customer. So this is our sales ledger. That means opening balance will be on the debit side. Joe is our asset. Sales ledger, that means he's my customer, he's my asset. So I'm expecting from Joe 984 pounds plus he buy again from me 1284. This is the money total I'm expecting from him, and minus he returns something, the credit note is and that. So I'm going to add this to 984 plus 1248 minus 317 minus 163. So whatever is the balance, this is the balance we're expecting from Joe. 1752 Thank you, Manu. Thank you, Anna. So I'm expecting 1,752 pounds from Joe after he returned two items to me. Okay, what is the question here? The customer has now ceased the trading. If you see this word, cease the trading, that means he shut down his business. He is not doing business anymore. And if he don't do any business, if the customer don't do any business, remember he cannot pay you. Because he will tell you, I cannot pay because I closed the business. How am I going to pay you? As soon as you see the word, cease the trading, you will understand we talk about the irrecoverable debt. As soon as you see the word, cease the trading, you need to understand we talk about irrecoverable debt because the customer cannot pay you. Weighing the amount outstanding, which includes the VAT, that means VAT is inside. Includes the VAT, that means VAT is inside. And now, if the VAT is inside, we know how to get it, isn't it? We know the formula. If the VAT is inside, we'll divide by 6, we get the VAT. Okay, what is the requirement here? The requirement here is record the journal entries needed in the general ledger to write off the net amount and the VAT. Do not enter a zero unused debit or credit column. Okay, so you already know the journal. The journal will be irrecoverable debt, irrecoverable debt, that is debit. VAT also debit because I'm not gonna pay VAT when my customer not paying me at all. If my customer pay to me, that time the VAT is a liability because I have to pay to Hmrc. But if my customer don't pay me at all, I'm not gonna pay the VAT for that. So VAT is also a debit, and sales ledger control will be credit because this customer will not going to pay me. My total credit customer balance will go down by 1,750. So I'm not going to get this amount from my customer because he shut down his business, he cannot pay to me. So sales ledger control normally is our debit. So I'm going to make credit, that is 1,752. And how much is the VAT inside? If you divide by 6, because the VAT is included, the VAT is 292. So 292. And the difference, how much is the difference? The difference is the irrecoverable debt, that is 1460. Very well done, Manu. 1460. So if I added this to debit, it will be exactly equal to the credit. This question will be definitely in the exam for 10 marks. So if you understand this one, what we did just now, you'll get 10 marks. So this is very easy, but you need to understand that. Hopefully, this question will be exactly the same question in the exam. So you'll get a full marks from this question. All right, let's move on to the next task. The next one, they're asking just for debit and credit. I think very easy question. This type of question hardly come in the exam because this is a very easy question. Just you need to tell it is debit or credit. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first one is said cash at bank. Cash at bank, is it debit or credit? Cash at bank is our asset, isn't it? Cash at bank is our asset, and asset is always our debit. Cash at bank is always our debit. Remember that why the debit and credit is so important. When you work for a company, let's say if you work as a bookkeeper or if you work as an assistant accountant, or if you work in a practice, in a software, any software you use, for example, if you use QuickBook, if you use Xero, if you use VT or Irish or any software, Sage, all you need to do, you need to enter what is debit and what is credit. As soon as you enter the journal that is debit and credit, rest of the job will be done automatically. So your software is very, very clever. As soon as you enter the journal, debit and credit, the software will do the ledger account, software will prepare the trial balance for you, and the software will prepare the financial statement for you. So all you need to do, you need to enter the journal that is debit and credit, And obviously, the rest of the job will be done automatically. So that's why the debit and credit is really, really important. Okay, the next one we have capital. Capital is debit or credit? Capital is our credit. Capital is the money invested by the owner of the business. Then computer equipment. Computer equipment is a debit or credit? That's an asset, so that will be debit. Then loan from the bank. Loan from the bank. This is also our credit. That's a liability. If I took a loan from the bank, I have to pay it back. So that's my liability. All right, I think it's a very easy question. We don't have to discuss too much about it. Let's move on to the next question. The next question is about the VAT control account. This is task number 4, and we have a 10 marks. All you need to do, we need to say is it debit or credit. In the VAT control account, we have a two side. So we said VAT control account. So when you started your level 3, we have a paper that is called indirect tax. And indirect tax will be all about the VAT. So that time you will have a more understanding about the VAT, because the full book will be for the VAT. So you'll know everything about the input VAT, output VAT, the deadline for the VAT, how to submit the VAT, how to calculate the VAT. So about everything VAT you're going to learn on level 3. There's a paper called indirect tax. So here just we understand the basic. On VAT control account, we have a debit side and we have a credit side. So if the liability reduces, if the liability goes down, if it is reduced, we record on the debit side. So liability reduce, that means all the input VAT, or for any reason it come to we need to reduce the liability, that's the debit side. If a liability increase, that is on the credit side. So for any reason, if you have to pay more VAT, for example, if you make a sale, cash sale, credit sale, whatever it is, it's on the credit side. If I said VAT, if I don't say anything, remember VAT opening balance normally is the credit balance. If I don't say anything like VAT, owing from, owing to, if I don't say anything, if I just say VAT, remember VAT is a liability and it's a credit. So that's why opening balance, balance VAT for the VAT, always on the credit side. Anyway, let's start this question together. Let's do that. The first one it says, VAT owing from, I'm expecting some VAT from Hmrc. VAT owing from Hmrc and custom first June. I'm expecting some VAT from Hmrc. I didn't receive it yet, and I'm going to get some VAT. So that is my asset, isn't it? If I'm going to receive some money from someone, that is my asset. And my asset is my debit. So I'll say that's my debit. The next one it says VAT total in the sales table. Sales table. As soon as I make a sale, doesn't matter it is a cash sale or credit sale, I have to pay the VAT to Hmrc. So Hmrc said, as long as you sell anything, you have to pay the VAT. Doesn't matter it is a cash sale or credit sale. As soon as you make the sale, you have to pay it. So that will create my liability. If it is create my liability, that's my credit. After that, it says VAT total in the sales return day book. VAT the sales return day book. So if my sales day book is a credit, sales return will be opposite. That will be debit. And remember, sales return means when your customer return to you. Now, if my customer return to me, I'm not going to pay VAT for that. For example, if I make sale to the £100, and if I want to pay VAT £20 to Hmrc, and next, if my customer return to me, I have to pay the money back to my customer. So I'm not going to pay VAT for that. That is not my actual sale at all. The next one, total VAT on the purchase day book. So when I buy something, and I paid VAT to my supplier. When I buy something, I pay VAT to my supplier. That's my input VAT, so that is debit. Because any VAT I paid, not gonna pay this one again. So that will reduce my liability. So whatever VAT is outstanding is due. Any VAT I paid, I'm gonna minus from my total liability. So that will reduce my liability, and that's why it is debit. The next one is total VAT on the discount allowed debit. If I give a discount to any customer and the VAT will be debit because I'm not going to pay VAT on the discounted amount. Let's say if I said the normal price is 100 and the discount is 20, so I will only pay VAT on 80. I will only calculate the VAT on 80, not the 20 I give the discount. That is my debit. Then VAT on the discount received debit. So if I receive a discount from my supplier, that's my credit. I cannot claim the VAT on the discounted amount because actually this VAT I never paid. I can only claim the VAT that I paid. So if I receive a discount from my supplier, I cannot claim VAT on that. VAT total on the cash book for cash sale. Doesn't matter it is a cash sale or credit sale. Doesn't matter it is a cash sale or credit sale. As long as it is a sale, we have to pay the VAT. So that will be our liability, and that will be our credit. The last one, we have VAT refund received, already received. Remember the first one we said we're going to receive. The first one we said we're going to receive, that was my asset. So when we received, that is not my asset anymore. So I have to make it down now. So I'll make it credit. Remember that this question, so many students they make a mistake because they think we received, so this is a cash, this is an asset, so this is a debit. It is not actually. It is like exactly like sales ledger control. When we make a credit sale, we say sales ledger control is debit and sales is credit. When we make a credit sale, we say sales ledger control is debit and sale is credit. But when the customer paid to me, we do opposite, isn't it? Because the customer already paid, I will say that time cash is debit and sales ledger control credit. Here we're doing the VAT control account. If my Hmrc already paid, that was the first one was going to pay VAT going from. So I'm going to get some money from Hmrc, but here they already refund. That will be credit because that will be the reduce of their liability. Going from and received from is the same thing. It is not the same thing. So when you said going from, that means you're going to get. You didn't receive it yet. You're going to get. So this person, you can steal my asset. For example, if I make a sales to you, Sharon, and until you make the payment, I will say Sharon is my asset because Sharon is my debit. So I'll keep telling you Sharon is my sales ledger control and you are my asset. But maybe after a few months, when you make the payment to me, when you already make the payment, and after that, if I still say you are my asset and you are my debit, you will say I'm not your asset anymore because I already make the payment. Can you make me credit? So I need to make it credit to make it balance. Exactly whatever was the amount was expected from Hmrc. If I got the refund from the Hmrc, that I have to make. All right, so just be careful with the last one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here, the next one it says, at the end of the July, the VAT control account has a debit balance 7055 and credit balance 11,380. Okay, so let's make it three accounts to make it more easy. So debit balance 7055, so only 7055, and the credit balance is 11,388. So that's my credit balance. After that, the following transactions have not been recorded. So these two transactions is not recorded yet. The first one, they said VAT 380, the purchase return debit. This side I'm going to record purchase return debit 380. Debit or credit? If I have a purchase return, I'm going to record on the credit side. Very well done. So I'm going to write on the credit side 380. Then VAT 195 on an irrecoverable bad debt write-off. So that will reduce my liability because the customer not going to pay me, so I'm not going to pay the VAT. So I'm going to record on which side? I'm going to record on the debit side. So 195 because that will reduce my liability. Okay, so after it is done, so after that we're going to calculate the balance CDBT. So all you need to do, we need to add it the higher side and minus the lower side to get the balance CDBT. You know how to do it. So the credit side looks higher. Normally VAT is a liability account, so credit side will be higher. We added this to 11,388 plus 380, 11,388 plus 380, that gives you 11,768. You're going to write the same figure here, 11,768. We'll minus this two to get the balance CDBT. Minus 7055 minus 195. So 4581. 4518. So that's my balance. Right here. And this will be the balance BD on the other side. 4518. All right, so now what we'll do, we'll write it down the amount here, that is 4518. And it is a debit balance, a credit balance. Remember, if the balance BD on the credit side is a credit balance, if the balance BD on the debit side, it is a debit balance. So always follow the balance BD. If the balance BD on the credit side is a credit balance, I'm going to say it's a credit balance. All right, so let's move on to the next question. That's number 5. I think all of you know this question. They said, these are the account sales ledger. Sales ledger means only for one customer. Sales ledger for one customer. We have a customer Redland, we have a customer Pastry, we have a customer Anol, we have a customer Samson and Dyer. So all this customer we can see expecting money from him because on the debit side we're expecting money from him because on the debit side we're expecting money from him as well because on the debit side, but this one basically is on the credit side. So that means we are not expecting any money from Patsy Perry. We have to pay him back. We need to pay back because maybe he overpaid or maybe he returned something to me, so I have to pay the money back. So basically we're going to do this plus this minus this. That will give me how much is the outstanding balance. So they said what is the total of the balance in the sales ledger? Total balance of the sales ledger. So we added all the debit balance and minus the credit balance to see how much is outstanding from our credit customer. Okay, so I'm going to follow all of you because you have the same answer. So we have 44563. Okay. So that 44563. 563. Now we're going to come down. Let's have a look. Here we go. So the next requirement here is the balance on the sales ledger control account. That was for the sales ledger. That is for the sales ledger control. That is 43,108. So my total balance is saying the total balance is 43,108, but my total of the sales ledger is saying 44. It's not matching. What is the difference between the balance of the sales ledger control account and the total balance in the sales ledger you calculated in A? What is the difference here? So we have 44513 minus 4310. 1855. Okay, very well done, Ona. The difference between these two. Now, the most tricky part, the reason. What could be the possible reason for the difference? So we can write it down here. My sales ledger is basically more 44,513, and my sales ledger control is basically less, like 43,108. So what we will do, we'll now try to find the reason why it is not matching. What could be the possible reason? So the question is saying, which of the two of the reason below could explain the difference you could calculate on B? What is the difference? Why the difference coming in B? What is the possible reason? So we need to find a reason. For that reason, either my sales ledger balance will go down because it's more, or my sales ledger control balance goes up because it is less. We need to find that type of reason. Let's find the first reason. Good return were entered twice in the customer account in the sales ledger. Let's say we have a sales ledger. Sales ledger we have already more, so you need to find the reason that could make it less. So sales ledger, they said, let's say my sales ledger here is 100 is the opening balance, and return is 10 and 10, and the balance CD is 80. So they said do return entered twice in the customer account in the sales ledger. They said mistakenly maybe I entered twice the return. Now for example, if I remove one return, they said this is also return, this is a return. So if I remove one, my balance sheet will go up by 90, isn't it? So if I pick this reason, that means my sales ledger will be, balance will go more up. You think should we pick this reason? No, isn't it? Because the sales ledger is already more. You don't want to make it more like than the sales ledger control. So we need to find the reason that make it down. We said no, that cannot be the reason. Because of this reason, my sales ledger will give you more balance CD. So it's not a reason. Then the next one we have here. The next one is saying discount allowed are not entered in the sales ledger control account. Sales ledger control. Let's do the same example. Let's say our 100 and discount allowed were not entered in the sales ledger control account. That means I forget completely sales ledger control. Now my balance sheet is also 100 here. Now if I said I forget one discount allowed, that's supposed to come on the credit side, isn't it? Let's say my discount allowed, if I remember now, and if I say discount allowed is 20, so my new balance sheet will be 80. So because of that reason, my sales ledger control balance will go down. It's already less compared to the sales ledger account. So I'm not going to do any reason, not going to take any reason that will make it more down. So my balance sheet will go more down. I said, no, this is not the reason. The next one is says, goods sold were entered twice in the customer account in the sales ledger. For example, they said, maybe we sell only 100, and basically because of that, my balance CD is 200, but that was a mistake because it was only one sale. Let's say I make a sales to amount for 100 pound, but mistakenly I said 100 and 100, 200. So I'm expecting 200 from amount mistakenly. So if I remove one, my balance sheet will go down to 100. So that means that could be one of the reasons because that's my sales ledger. And if I made this mistake, that's why I'm expecting more money from the customer. Maybe I record twice, same sales, I write twice. That's why maybe I'm expecting more money from the customer. So I'll say yes, that could be one of the reasons. I'll take it. Then the next one we have good return were not entering the sales ledger control. So if I said good return, I didn't enter good return this side, that means my balance will go more down. So I'm not going to take this one. If I said good return 10, so my balance will go down to 70. It's already down. I'm not going to take it. That's not the reason. Irrecoverable debt write-off were entered twice in the sales ledger control. So basically, we are saying irrecoverable debt maybe was only one, but I write off twice. So let's have a look what would be the impact if we do that. For example, I have a irrecoverable debt only 10, but I write twice mistakenly 10 and 10, and my balance sheet will become 80. If I remove one, it will be go up to 90. So that means my total sales ledger control balance will go up. I said yes, this is the reason. Now, as I said before, the reason question will be very tricky, even though it is only for 2 marks, but this will give you a stress. So if you are not very sure for the reason, leave this question until you finish the exam. Once you're done the exam, you come back to this question once again. It's only 2 marks. You don't have to spend 20 minutes on this question at the first go. So you complete your exam. If you have time, you spend all the time you have. But at the beginning, do not spend too much time on the reason. Identify all the reason and you get stressed and you made a mistake in next question. If you quickly get it, do it. If you cannot get it quickly, leave the question, make a flag on the question and come back later on. You can always come back. Remember that, make a note. I have to do this answer, then come back once you've done it. I have seen some students, they become a lot of stress on the exam because of this reason, and it's only for 2 marks. So they can always come back later on. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. The next one we have says, this is a summary of transaction with a credit supplier. Credit suppliers means purchase ledger control. Credit supplier means purchase ledger control. Credit supplier means I buy something from you, but I didn't make the payment. So you are my credit supplier, and I called you purchase ledger control. On the purchase ledger control, we have a debit side, we have a credit side. So purchase ledger control, remember opening balance always on the credit side. Balance BD, opening balance always on the credit side. If we buy more, we record on the credit side again because we have to pay more money if we buy more. If we return anything, we record on the debit side because writing anything on the debit side basically is minusing from my liability. And if we pay anything, that is also recorded on the debit side because writing debit side means I'm going to pay less money to you. Let's have a look at this one. Opening balance, 1st of July. My opening balance is 38,000. You can see that. Opening balance is a liability account on the credit side. Payment made by check. Which side I'm going to write? Payment made by check. I'm going to write on the debit side. And I'm going to say this is my bank. Remember that. You write the word. You write a bank. So we paid from the bank. So bank 29,512. 29,512 bank. Good purchase. So purchase, which side I'm going to record? Because if I buy, I have to pay more money to my supplier. So I'm going to record on the credit side. I'm going to say purchase 32,619. And finally, you have a good return. If I return to my supplier, I'm not going to pay for that. So I'm going to say purchase return on the debit side. 0 87. That's it. And after that, we're going to get our balance CDBD. We will add the higher side. So normally it's a liability account, so credit side will be higher. If we added this side, credit side, can you get the figure? How much is the total? If I added the credit side, that is 38,677 plus 32,619. If you added these two, 71296, 7. Well done, Evelyn. Now write the same figure here, 71296. After that, we're going to minus these two to get our balance CD. So, balance CD. How much is the balance CD? 87, 7, okay. So 87, 747. And do we remember what is the date for balance CD? Even though this portion don't ask for that, balance CD is the last day of the month, isn't it? Last day of the month. That will be maybe for July, it will be 31st of July. And this balance CD will come as a balance BD. And the date for the balance BD is the first day of the next month. Even though this question don't ask it, but it might ask for the exam. Okay, you can see it there. You can record on the T format. So we can record all of this here. Opening balance, BD, then purchase, then bank, purchase return. So whatever we just did, you can record it. All right, so any question from here? Anyone? This question will be in the exam. This purchase ledger question I have seen always in the exam. So make sure you know how to do it. It's very simple, but I have seen students, they write the opening balance on the debit side, right on the debit side, and definitely they write bank on that side. They write purchase return on that side and write good purchase on this side. So they do completely opposite and they lose the full marks because this is the template for sales ledger control. When there is a sales ledger control, the opening balance and the sales on the debit side and the return and the payment on the credit side. But when it is a purchase ledger control, so opening balance on the credit and anything bank or return on the debit. So it's opposite. So you have to remember the difference between the sales ledger control and the sales ledger. All right, so move to task number 6. And maybe after that, we can take a break. Let's finish this task number 6. Bank reconciliation. This question will be definitely in the exam, no doubt. So let's read this question. They said the bank statement and the cash book for May are shown below. Check the bank statement against the cash book and enter any transaction into the cash book as needed and the cash book balance carried down and brought down. So basically they're asking the balance CD and BD and update the cash book. So that means they're not asking for the reconciliation for this question. All we need to do, we need to update our cash book. So let's do that. How we update the cash book? We look at our bank statement, and of course, anything is missing on the cash book, we record on our cash book. Remember, paid inside, that is linked to cash book debit side, that will be paid in. So paid inside linked to cash book debit side, and bank statement paid outside, that is linked to cash book credit side. When we check the paid in with the cash book debit side, and when you check the paid out, that will be cash book credit side. The next thing here is the opening balance. So if there is a difference between the opening balance, so opening balance is the balance from the bank and from the cash book. So opening balance on the bank said we have on 1st of May, bank said we have 1,466 pounds, but our book said on 1st of May we have 768 pounds. How much is the difference? The difference is 698. Thank you, Evelyn. 698. That's the difference. As soon as you have the bank reconciliation question, first thing you do, you find the difference. Then you try to find, is there anything on the bank statement with this amount? You can see this is the amount here. So that means this check you already issued before and the person came to bank late. So you already issued a check before, but this person came late. If this person come late, obviously this is not your fault. You already done this one before on your books. You're not gonna see this one. When you try to match, you'll see 707 is here, and 2240 is here, and 1627 is here, and 3500 is not here. So we need to write it down. 3500. So we're gonna say 3500. This is PQ. PQ 3500. We're gonna write it here. 289 is here, but 698 is not here, but I'm not going to take it. Why? Because my opening balance telling me I already did it before. So I give that check maybe next month, last month, or 2 months before. The person didn't come to the bank. So person come to the bank now. That's why it shows I have a less money and the bank said you have a more money. Actually, when I issue a check, I already minus from my book. That's why my book said I have a less money. So this is because of done presented check. I'm not gonna do it again. If I take this figure again in my book, that means I'm doing double. How do I know that? Because I check the opening balance, I find the difference, so I'm going to ignore that. The difference I'm going to ignore. On the cash book debit side and link to paid in section of the bank statement, so I can see 29, but 29 is not in my book. That is bank interest. I'm going to write bank interest. That is 2nd of May, 29 pound. And I have 5415. I can see 5415. 854. I don't see 854 on my book. That is come and wait. So K and W 854 and 1316. I can see 1316 here. So now everything is matched with my book, with the bank statement. Remember, something missing on my book. I look at the bank statement first and update my book. Look at the bank statement first, then update on my book. Do not look on your book, that is cash book, and update the bank statement. Don't do it. Don't look at your book and match with the bank statement. No. Because if something is your book and not on the bank statement, for example, this one, 525 is on your book, but not on the bank statement. But can you change the bank statement? The answer is no, you cannot change the bank statement. So you don't look at the bank statement. Rather, you look at the bank statement and update your book. So if something is your book and not on the bank statement, that goes to the reconciliation. I hope you remember. So if something is on your book but not on the bank statement, that goes to the reconciliation because you cannot change the bank statement. But something on the bank statement but not on your book, then you update our book. All right, so this is the update our book. So let's have a look. We update everything. So now we need to add. So we add our higher side. This looks like the debit side is the higher side. And we add the higher side. All of these opening balance 768, 5415, 1316, 29, 854. If we add all of this, how much is the total? That is 95. 9510. And then write the same thing 9510 as a total. And after that, all you need to do is minus the credit side to find the balance CD because the question said find the balance CD and DD. So how much is the balance CD? Balance CD is the last day of the month, 31st of May. And what you do, you minus everything. Is it after that? You minus everything. Which side is higher? Is the debit side or the credit side? Credit side higher. Okay, so the balance CD will be on that side. Balance CD will be here, and how much it is? Is it 1128 or 1129? We added all of this, 9510 minus 768 minus 5415 minus 1316 minus 29 and minus 854. 1128, okay, so 1128 is our balance CD, 31st of May. Problem Bano. So this is 31st of May. And this one goes as a balance BD on the other side. Balance BD 11. This will give you at least 10 easy marks. Just update the cash book. Very simple step. Look at the cash book and look at the bank statement and see what is missing on your cash book. So looking at the cash book, that is our book, and obviously have a bank statement. So first you look at the bank statement and looking at our book, we see what is missing. Whatever it is missing, we'll update on our cash book. But remember, only we consider the opening balance. If there is opening balance, if there is a difference, we have to ignore that. We are ignoring this one. After that, bank statement paid in section, we will check with the cash book debit side. Paid out section, check with the cash book credit side. After that, if something on our book but not on the bank statement, that will go to reconciliation. So look at the bank statement, update your book. After that, get the balance CDBD, end of the story. All right, so hopefully you will get full marks for this question, but this question will be definitely in the exam. Bank reconciliation always 15 to 20 marks on the exam. Okay, so you have a task 7. So before you start task 7, you can take a break because we have only 3 or 4 more tasks. Let's take a break. Hopefully we'll start after we come back from here. So let's take a half an hour break. We'll come back and after that we'll start. And of course, like everyone, please make sure you write your name for the attendance so that you can get the video link for that. Okay, I'll see you in half an hour time then. All right, welcome back. So let's start with our next task. This is task 7. Let's have a look what we have here. So in this task, we can see this is the bank reconciliation portion. And of course, that one will ask for the reconciliation. So let's have a read this question first. Task 7, 14 marks. Layla Limited bank statement for July showed an opening balance 3518 and a closing balance 5342. Remember, when this type of question comes, you have to pick the closing balance. Never take the opening balance, because on the bank, when you do the reconciliation, you always take the closing balance. You always pick the closing balance for the bank reconciliation. So we have this one. So this is our closing balance for the bank statement. The cash book below has been checked against the bank statement, and the 2 highlighted items have been identified as unmatched. The bank reconciliation statement has been partially completed. This is our cash book, and they're saying 2 highlighted items, that is this one and that one, is not matching with the bank statement. So we already know that if something is on our cash book but not on the bank statement, then it is go to reconciliation. So something on the cash book but not on the bank statement, so it will go to the reconciliation. So if it is unmatched with the bank, then that will go to reconciliation. Now this is the cash book debit side, and that's my credit side. We already know that on the debit side, whatever is not matching to the bank statement, We called it outstanding lodgement, outstanding lodgement. And the outstanding lodgement we have to add on the bank reconciliation. And on the credit side, if something is not matching to the bank statement, we called it unpresented check. Unpresented check. And the unpresented check is always minus from our total balance on the bank reconciliation. So if you remember the template for the bank reconciliation, that is we have opening balance or balance as per bank statement. So let's write this one. Balance as per bank statement. Balance as per bank statements. That one we take the closing balance, not the opening. Remember, we always take the closing balance. That is 5342. With that, we add the outstanding lodgement, that is this one, and we minus the unpresented check, that is this one, 1882, and minus 187. That will give me the balance of as per cash flow. So that's how we need to do the reconciliation. Let's go down and let's have a look what is the requirement here. Hopefully it will ask for the reconciliation. So let's have a look at. Yes, you can see that the reconciliation portion is here. So the first one, they said, complete the bank reconciliation statement as at 31st of July. Balance as per bank statement, that is 5342, that is closing balance. Then outstanding lodgement, that is LG Lodge, we have 1882, and unpresented check, this only going to minus 187. That will give us exactly balance as per. Can you get the figure? That's the closing balance, remember, from the bank. Then we add the outstanding lodgement minus the unpresented check. That will give us the balance as per cash flow. So 5342 plus 1182 minus 187, that gives you 7037. All right, that's fine. So this is our balance carried down. The next question is says, check that the bank reconciliation statement in A has been correctly completed by calculating the carried down in the cash book and the total of the bank column in the cash book after carried down has been recorded. So this question sometimes come in the exam. If the question said balance carried down, that means they're asking for the CD. This one is already calculated, balance CD, that is 7037. And bank column total, basically this is the total of the higher side of the cash book. Bank column total is the higher side of the cash book. So let's have a look at the cash book and have a look which side looks higher. On our cash book, we have a bank column and bank column. So we need to add the higher side. So higher side looks like the debit side because we have 3,000, 3,000. If we added the debit side, how much is the total? 18,573 by wall conjugate. So this is our higher side. That will be for the bank column total. We come down, we write it down here, bank column total, 18,573, and here we just write the balance sheet, whatever we get. That is 7037. That's it. All right, let's move on to the next one. On the next one, we have bank statement. And on the bank statement, we have some items here. You can see the opening balance. We can see the bank charges. Then we have a paid in, paid out section. This is a big bank statement. And we have on the banks 588 pounds as the closing balance. On our cash book, we have a debit side and the credit side. We can see there is a difference on the opening balance. That one is 3152 and that one is 3418. So there is a difference on the opening balance. Let's read the question. The question is asking, identify which two transactions have caused the difference in the opening balance. They're asking, what is the reason of the opening balance? Before we find the reason, first we see how much is the difference of the opening balance. So on the bank statement, we can see on the bank, we say we have 3418, and on the cash book, we said we have on 1st of July 3152. 3152. So how much is the difference? How much is the difference of the opening balance between the bank statement and the cash book? So we can see the difference is, so the difference is 266. Very good. Well, so this is the difference. Now we need to look for some item that caused this difference. Now the question said there should be two reasons. The question said identify the two transactions. We need to look for two transactions from the bank statement that cause the difference. Now, remember, when I said two transactions, that could be one in the debit and one in the credit. But normally, we have to check for the credit side. We will check all the check. For the credit side of the cash book, we always check the checks. The reason is this is the only thing. Check is the only thing I issued, but the person maybe didn't go to the bank. So unpresented check is the only one thing that could make the difference, because I give the check to someone and this person may not go to the bank on time or maybe go to the later time. So that caused maybe the opening balance difference. This is number one. Or if someone paid me directly to my bank account and didn't tell me anything, like he paid the money, that could cause another reason for the difference. So let's have a look. Check first the paid out section. Let's check in this one. So we have our cash book. Let's check with this one. Check 902 amount. Can we see 902 on our book? Yes, 902 is here. Then 1384. Let's have a look. Is 1384 is here or not? We don't see 1384 on our book, isn't it? 1384, check number 047416. This 1384 is not on our book. So let's write it down. Check 047416, amount 1384. It is not on our book. Then let's have a look. Check. We have one more check here. That is 551. Let's have a look. Yes, so 551 we can see on our book. And 385, we can see 385 on our book. This is the only check is missing on our book because the person came to the bank later on. Maybe we give last month or a few months before. That could be one of the reasons. So, but the question said there's two reasons. So I have to find another one. The two transactions. Let's find one more transaction. On the paid in section linked to our cash book debit side. So let's have a look. Can you see this amount or not? 1118. And on the cash book debit side, I don't see this one. 1118. This amount is not here. So I'm going to write it down. WMW 1118. And if the difference is 266, that means I found the reason why this is not matching. What is the reason? So I found the reason. So let's check this difference. 1384 minus 118. If the difference is 266, that means that is exactly matching with the difference we have on the opening balance. Minus 118. 266, isn't it? So 266. So that's, now we can say we find the reason why it is not matching. So So that's fine. Now we can go back to the question. Telling you this question will be in the exam, so please be careful when you already have this question bank with you. Once you practice you with me, after that you revise yourself once again, but make sure you understand this question because this will be definitely in the exam. So here is on two transactions you already found. The first one is check number 047416. This is this one. Next one is WW, that is Walmart and Words Districts. Okay, these two are the reason. All right, the next question they're asking, identify the detail and amount of one outstanding lodgement that should be entered into the bank reconciliation statement and show whether the amount would be added or subtracted. Now we already know that, isn't it? Outstanding lodgement, we add or we minus from the reconciliation. Outstanding lodgement, we add, isn't it? Outstanding lodgement, we always add. So we already have the answer. This is add. But the next question is how I find the amount. So outstanding lodgement is the amount that someone paid to me, but I didn't record on my book. So someone paid to me, but I didn't record on my book. So it should be on the bank statement debit side, on my cash book debit side, because someone paid to me, and obviously I give the check to the bank, but bank didn't clear it yet. So there's two things. One is outstanding lodgement, and one is unpresented check. Outstanding lodgement always on the debit side of the cash book. It should be here. That means someone give me the check, one customer give me the check, and I give this check to the bank, but bank didn't clear it yet because bank takes some time to clear the balance. On the other hand, unpresented check is the check I give to someone, but the person didn't go to the bank yet. Outstanding lodgement I received, unpresented check I give. Now, obviously this one will be added and unpresented check will be a minus. Now, the reason we have to do the reconciliation for the cash book, because if something on my book but not on the bank statement, I cannot change the bank statement. And when I cannot change the bank statement, it will go to the reconciliation. So now let's have a look which one I have on my book but not on the bank statement. Look for one by one. So look for the first one, 4621. So let's have a look, 4621. Let's have a look, it's on the bank statement or not. 4621. On the paid in section, we can see this one, 4621. Yes, it is on the bank statement. Then we have 388. Let's have a look on the paid in section, 388. No, I don't see 388 here. 388 is not on the bank statements. It's on our cash book. It's on our cash book debit side. That means I received the check from the customer. I already recorded in my book, but I give it to the bank, but bank didn't clear it yet. So this is outstanding lodgement. So the bank will clear maybe after 1 or 2 days or 1 week. So I already updated that. This is called outstanding lodgement. So it's not on the bank statement, but it's on my book. I'm going to say Kings and Cran, 14th of July. This one is the outstanding lodgement. 388, Kings and Cran. So just write it down. Kings and Cran, amount 388, and that will be added. Okay, so move to the next one. The next one we have identify the detail and amount of one unpresented check that should be entered in the bank reconciliation. Unpresented check. So something on my cash book credit side, but not on the bank statement. So let's have a look which one. First check with the first one, 902. Let's have a look on the bank statement, paid out section. You can see 902 here. Then we look at 349 on the bank statement. On the paid out section, 349, 349. No, it's not there. This is the one I have on my book, but not on the bank statement. That means I give the check to someone, MLR PLC, I give a check, but this person didn't go to the bank yet. So this is unpresented check. So MLR 349. So MLR 49 and and that will be subtracted. Unpresented check will always minus. It will be subtracted. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This question. Error and the trial balance. This question will be always in the exam, so make sure you understand that. The first question it says, a suspense account has been opened with a balance 180. So one suspense account is created, but we don't know it is a debit balance or it is a credit balance. But only the question said there is a suspense account 180 is created. The error has been identified as an entry made in the general ledger from the incorrectly total net column. They said the total net column is incorrect. Okay. On the sales table, can you check this one? They said this total is incorrect. We add this one and check if the total is correct or incorrect. So after that, they're asking record the journal entries need to remove the incorrect one, record the correct one, and remove the suspense. So remove the incorrect, record the correct, remove the suspense. You already know it, isn't it? How to do it. So remove the incorrect one, record the correct one, and finally remove the suspense. So if we added these three, how much it is? How much is the total here? 440, 440, and 1025, and we have 780. So if we added these two, that gives us 2245. Okay, so that's net supposed to be 2245, but mistakenly we wrote here 2425. That's the wrong one, isn't it? Wrong one is 2425. The wrong one is 2425, and the difference should be 180. This is the reason the suspense account is created. If you check the difference, it should be 180. So 2425 minus 2245, and that's the reason you can see the suspense account created. The difference is 180. Okay, so what's happening here? First, we need to remove the incorrect one, that is 2425. After that, we'll record the correct one, that is 2245, and finally we need to remove the suspense account. Let's do that. So the first, journal to remove the incorrect one. So normally our sales is credit. If I want to remove it, I make sales debit. So sales, normally sales is a credit. If I want to remove it, I make it debit. So which one is the incorrect one? 2425. 2425. That's the incorrect one. As soon as I make it debit, that will be gone. The wrong one, because the wrong one is credit. I'm making debit, that will be gone. Then the next one is record the correct entry. The correct entry will be this time sales. That will be credit 2245. That's the correct one. Sales 2245. That's the correct one. And finally, we have to remove the suspense account. Finally, we have to remove the suspense account. That is 180. Now, suspense account. Can anyone tell me suspense will be debit or credit? So when I said the trial balance, you can see on the credit side is supposed to be 2245, but I write here 2425. I wrote 180 more this side. And my debit side will be shortage of 180, isn't it? So this side will be shortage of 180. I put the suspense 180 to make it balance. So my suspense correctly is a debit. If I want to remove the suspense, I make the suspense credit. So the debit and credit cross each other. I'm going to the suspense 180 credit. Is there any question from here? If you're confused, let me know. I can explain again because this question will be definitely in the exam. Okay, so let's move on to the next page. Okay, the next question here we have another error has been found in general ledger. Entries to record cash drawing 425 have been reversed. Reverse means something supposed to be debit, I make it credit. Something supposed to be credit, I make it debit. I did opposite. So when there is a cash drawings, what will be the journal? Drawings will be debit 425 and cash will be credit 425. It's supposed to be like this. But what I did the opposite. I said cash debit 425, drawings credit 425. This is the one. This is the correct one, and this is the wrong one. I did opposite. So what I do, I'll do the reverse entry so that I can remove it. So I will say drawings debit 425, cash credit 425. So once I write this one, the old mistake will be gone. So this will cross my old mistake. And I'm writing again the same thing, drawings debit 425 and cash credit 425. That will be the system. So basically, I'm writing the same thing twice. Why? Because the first one will remove the old mistake and the next one will be in the system. For example, if I asked Sharon to give £5 to Banu, and rather than giving £5 to Banu, if Sharon bring £5 from Banu, so how much you need to give it to back her? You need to give to back. You need to give back 10, because if I say give her £5, and rather than you giving, you bring £5. So what will happen? I have to give first 5 to remove or correct my old mistake, and then I'll give the new 5 that is supposed to be. This is the same thing. When you do reverse, we do the same thing twice. So remember that when there is a reversal, we do the same thing again. So we will say here drawings debit, cash credit. We're going to write the same thing here again. Drawings debit, cash credit. Because the first one I'm writing, that was to correct my old mistake. And number 2 is writing that's supposed to be a new entry. So when there is error of reversal, you write the same thing twice. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Task 9. On task 9, we have the journal entries below have been prepared to correct the errors. So this is very simple and easy. All you need to understand, there is 2 journal here. So we have office furniture debit, suspense credit. We have suspense debit, office furniture credit. Just write it down here first. Office furniture debit 1476, suspense credit 1476. Number 2, suspense debit, that is 1764, and office furniture credit 1764. That's the 2 journal we need to record on the ledger account. Let's do that. So we have the office furniture. The office furniture, we already have the opening balance and the bank. So let's use the first journal. The first journal is says office furniture is debit. If the office furniture is debit, so my pen will be on the debit side. Remember that, because we are doing the office furniture account and the office furniture is debit, so my pen will be on the debit side. So office furniture is debit, that's why I'm writing on the debit side, but I'm going to write the opposite. I never write his name inside of his account, because this account belongs to office furniture. On his account, I never write his name. For example, if someone invite, let's say if we will invite all of us to his house for a party or for a birthday celebration. So you want to write how many guests come to his home. For example, if I go, if Jude go, if Banu go, everyone is going there, his house. So he's writing our name, not his name. So for example, if I go there, so he will write my name. So basically, you want to know how many people is here. So this account belongs to office furniture. So inside of his account, we are not writing his name. We're writing the opposite name so that we can identify why I'm writing this amount. So here, the office furniture is debit, but he have the priority. So office furniture is debit, so I'm writing on the debit side, but I'm writing the opposite name, that is suspense. And the amount is 1476. So suspense is our debit. You see the suspense is credit here, but I'm writing on the debit side. Why? Because the office furniture is debit and we are in the office furniture account. The next one we have number 2. Suspense is debit, so I'm writing again on the debit side. So sorry, suspense is debit, but this time office furniture is credit. So I'm writing on the credit side because office furniture is credit. So I'm going to write the opposite name, that is suspense. The amount is 1764. That's it. After that, we're going to add all of this to make the total. So can you make the total? 8363 plus 611 plus 1476. So the total is 10450. Thank you, Banu. Thank you, Zud. So then we're going to find the balance CD, 10450. How much is the balance CD? 10450 minus 1764. That will give you the balance CD, 8686. Very good. The same will do the next one, but the suspense account will have no balance. Remember that all the account we're going to do, every account will have a balance CD and BD, but not the suspense account. Suspense account will never have any balance. Suspense account has to go. Suspense account will be, both sides will be equal. There will be no balance CD and no balance BD for the suspense account. Let's have a look at the first journal. It's a office furniture debit, suspense is credit. We are doing the suspense account, so he have the priority. Suspense is a credit, so I'm writing on the credit side, but I'm writing the opposite, office furniture. The amount is 1476. And after that, the next one we can see suspense is debit, so I'm writing the debit side, but I'm going to write office furniture, opposite name, office furniture, and that is 1760. If I added both, it will be both 1764, and there will be no balance CD and BD. Where the suspense account has to be both. Suspense account cannot have any carried forward. So suspense account cannot have any opening balance or closing balance. Suspense account has to be vanished. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. Task 10. We do this one together. Task 10. Let's try this question. 14 marks. This is our last question, so let's try everyone. And this question will be in the exam definitely. On 30th September, a trial balance was extracted and did not balance. The debit column said 199601 and the credit column said 20827. What entry is needed in the suspense account to the balance trial balance? So obviously they're asking how much is the trial balance, or is it how much is the suspense account, or is it debit or credit? You already know that if the trial balance do not balance, if my trial balance have a debit side something and the credit side something, then the difference will come and the suspense account created. So here they said the credit column is 208.57 and the debit is 199.601, isn't it? So we can see the debit side is short. You can see the shortest side is the debit side. So this one is 200, 827, and it's not matching. So if I want to match it, I need to put some extra money here. I need to put some extra balance, and this balance is called suspense. And that will be how much? 1226. Then it will be matched. So remember, suspense account always created on the short side. Suspense account always created on the shortest side. So if my debit side is short, then debit side will be suspense account created. If my credit side is short, then credit side will be created the suspense account. So that is on the debit side. So 1226. All right, very good. Let's move on. Next one, we have some journals. This question come in the exam, but sometimes students become confused. So let's do this question together. This question, we have some journals. How many journals? 1, 2, 3, and 4 journals. Okay. And they said there is some original balance, and they asked to adjust these journals to make the new balance and say it is debit or credit. So let's do one by one. The first one is office expense. Office expense, that is 1967, and that is our debit. Office expense 1967 is the original balance. The opening balance is our debit. Now on the journal, I can see I have a one office expense, I have two office expense, and both are debit. And one debit will increase another debit. Debit and debit means plus and plus. Debit and debit means plus and plus. Debit and credit means plus and minus. So both office expense are debit. So we have here office expense, that is 241 debit, and again office expense 241 debit. All are debit. So debit means plus. Debit and debit, they are from the same category. One debit and another debit means they are plus. One debit, another credit means plus and minus. One credit, another credit means plus. One credit, another debit means minus. Remember that. So if I added all of this, how much will be the new balance? 1967 plus 241 plus 241. How much it is? So that will be 2449. Okay. So the new balance will be 2449. This question will be in the exam. Definitely make sure you get it. And after that, we'll make it debit. The office expense is a debit. The next one is a bank overdraft. Bank overdraft normally is a liability and it is a credit. Bank overdraft 1076 is the new original balance, the opening balance, and that is our credit. And after that, I can see I have a bank 241 on the journal, and that is also credit. That is means also overdraft. 241 is a credit, and I have a bank again, it is credit. So bank 241 is again credit. All this credit will be added. How much it is? 1558, 1558, and that is our credit. Remember, if there is a one debit, for example, if this bank is debit, I do this plus this minus this. So understand the question. If there is one debit, that you minus against the credit. Debit and credit always plus and minus. Do not forget that. The next one we have fixture and fittings. Normally it is debit, so fixture and fittings 12,334. That is our debit. Fixture and fittings. And we can see we have a fixture and fittings, that is our debit. So 1569, that is also debit. So how much is the new balance? 12 and 1569, 13903, that is also debit. Finally, you have a rent received. Rent received is income. Rent received is income. 602 is a credit. This is our income. And we have a rent receive another credit. 343, this is another credit. How much is the balance? 602 plus 343, this is 945. And this is also our credit. That's it. So this question will be definitely in the exam. Make sure you understand this question, how to do it. It's very simple if you understand it. If there is a debit and debit, you add. If there is a debit and credit, you minus. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, so we have the last question here. It says, on 31st of October, a partially prepared trial balance had been balanced, totaling debit balance is this. So let's do that. Debit balance is 210, 678, and the credit balance is 208911. Okay, this is the trial balance. The accounts below have been not entered in the trial balance yet. So whatever it is here is not entering the trial balance yet. They're asking us to report. Okay, we know how to do it. Let's do that. VAT owing to HMRC, is it debit or credit? VAT owing to HMRC 12,053. So if there is owing to HMRC, it's a liability. If we need to pay any VAT to HMRC, that's our liability, and the liability is our credit. That will be our credit. We're going to say 12,053. That will be our credit. Sales return. Sales is a credit, so sales return will be what? Debit. Sales is a credit, so sales return will be our debit. So 4671. And finally, the drawings. 5615. Finally, the drawings. Drawings is always debit. 5615. After that, they said what will be the total each column after the balance in C has been entered. So after the correction of the balance, how much will be the total balance for the trial balance? So can you check that? We already recorded that, so all you need to do is you need to add it, and both sides should be equal. How much it is? 220964. So 220964. 22096. All right, we're going to write here 22096. 22096. That's it. So this is the end of our question. You see, like we have practiced the whole question, and we try to cover every single area we have. And of course, this is the question bank. I already sent it to you. You should have it. If you don't have it, you can email me. I can send it to you again if you didn't receive it. From now, you can start practicing on this question bank. From the back of the question bank, we have at least 5 practice questions. So practice all of these 5. It is more or less the same type of question. If you understand one, the one we did today, if you understand this one very well, I can guarantee you the other question will be easy for you. So other 4 practice will be very just quickly revised. So it will not take, I would say, more than 3-4 hours. Just quickly revise. So next week, obviously, like we'll have no more class. Today will be our officially the last class, the revision. Next week, Monday evening, we'll do the exam, or we might do the exam on Tuesday. So I'll email you for the exam. So if you live close to the East London, you can do the exam on Barking, or if you live on Central, or you live next to the West London, you can do the exam on Parkwell. But I will email you the details, everything about the exam. So obviously, nothing to worry. I'll email all of you exam timetable and how you can attend the exam, what you need to do. I'll send you everything. So don't worry about the exam. So next week will be your mock. Next week will be the mock exam, and the week after will be the final. So your final exam, for the final exam, you still have 2 weeks. For the final exam, you still have 2 weeks. So next Monday or maybe next Tuesday, we'll have your mock exam. And a week after, Monday or Tuesday will be your final exam. So my advice will be, even if you didn't start your study today, up to now, we can start from today. Even if you start from today, if you didn't study at all, still will be absolutely fine. This is only 6 chapter, and obviously we've gone through all the 6 chapter. All you need to do, you need to do some revise, you need some practice. Whatever question you're doing today is gonna be exactly same thing in the exam, but that will be a little bit different. They will have a different presentation. But if you know how to do it, you can answer all the questions. So all you need to do from this question bank, you have 5 questions from the back of the question bank. Practice this 5 question, you will be 100% ready for the exam. And during your practice, when you practice, if you have any question, you have my email, you can email me. Definitely, I'll get back to you and explain to you more. So please make sure you start your study from today a little bit for the mock, and obviously week after you will do the final. So I'm going to send you an email tomorrow with the detail for the exam, and hopefully you'll understand how to do the exam and when to come, how to book the exam. So that's it. So obviously, like if you have any question for me, you can ask me now. Yes, Sharon, we are doing mock first and final. If you have any question for me, you can ask me now. Otherwise, like obviously, you can email me anytime you have any question. And otherwise, I want to say thank you, everyone. We have a very wonderful time with all of you. We started with the transaction. We did the control. I hope I'll see you maybe if you do exam on barking. I'll see you there. If not, maybe we'll see in level 3. We'll meet each other. If you want to do level 3 in future, maybe we'll meet in the class. Or I want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining me for all this lesson for transaction and control. And we tried together, we tried to practice all the question together. We try to learn at least our basic accounting. That is our debit and credit. At least now we know what is debit, what is credit. Now we know something is called ledger account, something is trial balance. So we have the basic idea about the bookkeeping now. So at least like when you apply for the bookkeeping job, or if you work in the accounting side, you can tell something about the accounting. And that was the aim for us, so that we can say we know this all of this basic stuff. But when you move to a level 3, you will learn more. And I hope all of you will move to level 3. And of course, like if you have any question, not only for your study for level 2, any question you have relevant to the accounting, or your any reason, if you need any help from me, feel free to email me. I'll definitely get back to you if you need anything from me, any help. So don't be hesitated. Always you can email me for the question for level 3, for any other reason. You can always email me. Have my email, you can always email me. Other than, I'm not gonna see you, all of you, until maybe next we meet level 3. Otherwise, like maybe you can see in the exam if you do exam in barking, or maybe you're gonna see one day in the class for level 3. So I wish all of you a good luck for the exam, for your future career, and obviously thank you for joining with me. And we will see if you have any issues. Always email me. Yes, Sharon, the level 3 Thursday will keep continue. Of course, we have a level 3 anyway Thursday. And for your exam, as I said, I'm going to send you the email tomorrow, so you will see all the detail for your exam tomorrow. All right, so if you have any question, you can ask me, or I have to say goodbye to all of you. And stay safe, stay home during this lockdown. Make sure you do some study for the exam. And we'll meet somewhere one day in the level 3 maybe, or I hope like all of you will move level 3. All right, guys, so thank you. I'm leaving now. If you have any questions, so you can email me. Otherwise, like I'll see you on the exam day in barking, and I'll send you the emails for the exam details, how to do all of this. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Mirul. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Banu. Thank you, everyone.